Welcome to Nugget 253 with Steve and Dana Groman. And today we're going to take a change of direction, and that is a pun. And as we continue through this nugget, you'll know why. I'm going to start and just briefly go through a quick article in the May 2022 Science News. Upbringing may influence wayfinding ability. Score 1 for the country mouse. People who grow up outside of cities are better at finding their way around than those who grow up as urbanites. A large study suggests the results described in the April 7 Nature hint that learning to handle environmental complexity as a child strengthens mental muscles for spatial skills. Okay, you should always do all kinds of skill building things with your children as they were growing up. Nearly 400,000 people from 38 countries played a video game called Sea Hero Quest, in which they piloted a boat in search of various targets. On average, people who reported growing up outside of cities, where they would have presumably encountered lots of meandering paths, were better at finding the targets than people who were raised in cities. What's more, the difference between city dwellers and outsiders was most prominent in countries where cities tend to have simple, grid-like layouts. The simpler the cities, the bigger the advantage of people outside of them. Cognitive scientist Antoine Coutras of CNRS, who is based in Lyon, France, and colleagues report. From these data, the team can't definitely say that childhood environment is behind the differences, but it's plausible. Other bits of demography, including age, gender, and education, as well as a sense of smell, have been linked to navigational performance. The more you use it, the more you gain understanding and ability. When someone's giving directions to us, and they're talking to me specifically, and they start saying north, south, east, west, if you turn east on, I like, oh great, they know what they're talking about. And it's so funny how sometimes we ask people how to get somewhere, get to their church or whatever, and they're like, I don't know. They just know how to get there. But I want to talk a little bit about some directional tools. One of the coolest ones is one that I found out about, and it's on Edwards Air Force Base in California. And this is a fascinating place. Lots of historical events have occurred there, and you might want to look that up. But one of the features that I wanted to point out today was on the base, there is the world's largest compass rose, and it is painted on the usually dry lake bed of Rogers Lake. It is 4,000 feet in diameter. The compass rose is an accurate analog directional device for aircraft utilizing the adjacent lengthy runways that are also painted on the lake bed. And when I was doing research for my book on this, I actually contacted someone in the Air Force at the base, and he sent me this really good picture of the compass rose that is on the dry lake bed. Isn't that the coolest thing you've ever seen? And you can see how the runways are just drawn out on this dry lake bed. But what is a compass rose, and what is it for? The compass rose is a name given to the circular graph that is used in cartography and maps, which is used to indicate the directions or bearings on the horizon constituted in circumference. That is, north, south, east, west. It's like a compass, but it's the base of the compass. It's what the actual wording is placed on. The compass rose is also known as the nautical rose, and it is an instrument used on navigation charts. It also appears on magnetic compasses, the equivalent of earth compasses that aid orientation. With the compass rose, the north is established as the main point of reference from which the other directions will be established. This is because the north represents the 0 degree of the circumference, and from this the degrees begin to run until they reach 360. That is, the end of the horizon circumference, and 0 is actually the same as 360. If you know, on a compass, it only points to the north. South is just the direction away from north. But how does the compass rose work? This has 4 main edges. They represent the 4 cardinal points, north, south, east, and west. In turn, these are subdivided twice. One of these subdivisions shows the lateral directions, which are northeast, southeast, southwest, and northwest. The other subdivision represents the 8 collateral courses, that is, the combination of each of the aforementioned courses. All these directions and directions that are marked by the compass rose help a boat to orient itself and guide it to reach its destination. It provides direction and certainty on long trips. This allowed sailors orientation starting in the 13th century, that's a long time ago, when it is believed that the compass rose was invented, taking into account that other orientation equipment that we know of today had not yet been developed. We found this cool compass rose at the airport in West Houston. I love finding these things. In addition, the compass rose has been used for the construction of airports, since it allows us to know the air currents that are regularly in a geographical area. In other words, if you know that you have a traditional south-southeast wind, then you'll know which direction, because you want to land and take off into the wind. And here's a picture of a sectional chart there of the West Houston airport, and you can see that their runways are 33 and 15. The 33 means 330 degrees, and the 15 means 150 degrees. And this is in conjunction with the prevailing winds there in West Houston. The compass rose is also used in aeronautics, since airplanes being between air currents and clouds also use an orientation and navigation system. For the orientation of the planes, it is therefore essential to know the direction and the speed of the wind in the area where it will fly. I'm also interested in sundials, and it sort of runs in conjunction with that because of the orientation of north with a sundial. I came across this information about an analemmatic sundial, and the sun moves in what's called an analemma as it goes through the seasons and through the year, and I'm not going to get into the analemma right now, but if you're interested in this kind of thing, the analemma movement of the sun is a fascinating topic. But we came across one of these, and so I wanted to know a little bit more about it. This is just a little introduction. I'm not going to go into great detail. We consider here the analemmatic sundial with a gnomon that moves on a calendar line or zodiac walkway while remaining perpendicular to the dial plane, though in some designs it can be inclined. From a practical point of view, where people cast their shadow to tell time, we shall consider perpendicular gnomons, people, as the shadow casters. Basically what it is a human sundial, and we found one of these in Milwaukee at the Mitchell Park Domes. You stand on where the month is that you're in, and then you hold up your hands. The gnomon is the thing that sticks up and casts the shadows. Well, in the case of these, the person is what casts the shadows, and as you can see, it was a cloudy day, so it didn't work, but it was fun, and I like anything that has north, south, east, and west on it. We also did a nugget on directions and surveying and all that, and it was our Nugget 160, and we actually interviewed a surveyor in the following nuggets, and those are really exciting. And this is a picture of us up on top of Mount Diablo. They have this, it's not really a true compass rose, but it is the markings of the directions up on top of the mountain there. You can see close to forever up there. Most of the surveying that has been done in that entire region is started at a point there on Mount Diablo, and you'll just have to watch that nugget to learn more. I always like to find these fun signs. This is in Shoshone, California. This one is in Death Valley. This one is in Juneau, Alaska. It's always fun to know how far away some of my bucket list places are when I'm somewhere else that's fun. And this one is in Olean, New York. And this was a really fun one. It's at the Charleston Tea Plantation in Wadmalaw Island, South Carolina. And this is the only commercial tea farm in the country. If you appreciate our content, tell others and repost on your social platforms. Thank you.